I'm Diana Swain. You're watching CBC News Network, and we're tracking a breaking story this hour out of Quebec. 7 people have died in a plane crash on the Ile de la Madeleine. Michael Serapio joins us with the latest. We've just learned some of the details in the past 10 or 15 minutes from Quebec Provincial Police.
Yes, some of the details, as this is still a breaking news story as you and I speak. Now, that plane crashed at around 11:40 a.m. That is local time, Ile de Madeleine, which is in the Atlantic time zone, not in the Eastern time zone. So at this point, what we can say is that there were 7 people on board that plane. Again, this is from the Sûreté de Quebec. They said that the plane departed from an airport in Saint-Hubert, Quebec, and it crashed as it was approaching landing. Now, they are still at this point trying to confirm the passenger manifest on that plane, which is why they're not releasing any of the identities of the people who are on that plane. What we can say is that Transport Canada has just confirmed the fact that everybody on that plane did die. So no survivors out of this crash in Ile de Madeleine. A couple more things I'm pulling for you here, Diana, as I kind of go through all the feeds they're walking through. The TSB, the Transportation Safety Board, they have deployed a team to investigate what has happened here. They're being deployed from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. And again, this is because the Ile de Madeleine is in the Gulf of the St. Lawrence. It is a small island, a small community where this took place. The plane crashing on approach in a community called Havre-aux-Maisons. This is on Ile de Madeleine. Reports are now saying it was a Mitsubishi turboprop believed to have belonged to a private company. Again, no survivors. What we can also say is that at this point, Environment Canada has a wind warning in the area. We don't know if weather is a factor in what has happened today, but that wind warning has been in effect all day because there's a low pressure over the Gulf of St. Lawrence right now. It is a persistent, strong system, and Environment Canada, up until this point, was essentially warning people that this strong wind could cause damage as it comes through the island itself. Again, how this affected the crash, we still don't know. At this point, Sûreté de Quebec confirming the manifest before releasing the names, as well as the TSB sending out investigators to the site.
And as you look at the picture of the wreck, you can see that the impact of the force of the landing. And what's interesting is it was initially reported as a hard landing. So you would assume then taking place at the airport versus a crash in particular, that the plane may have lost altitude very close to the ground, hard landing. There was no initial sign that was being reported annually that it was as serious as this. But as the information has started to come out, it's certainly become clear how devastating this crash was.
Well, what I found interesting too was when you were speaking to the officer from the Sûreté de Quebec, he was essentially referencing the fact that they're still trying to confirm the manifest because as they're reaching out to family members. But this is a small community, and as you look at the photos, what's also remarkable is that where it crashed is not far from residential houses. So obviously this is something that is affecting the community, and with a direct effect is this has potential witnesses. Right now we know that from the Sûreté de Quebec that emergency officials are cordoning off the area. They are at this point proceeding with their investigation, but still so many questions. The nature of the crash, how it happened, and who the people on board are, because that is a big question at this moment in time.
And in fact, what we can say is that there has been speculation that someone who is fairly prominent is on that plane. We haven't gone into names for obvious reasons and won't until we know who in fact was on the plane. The Prime Minister was speaking last hour in Alberta, there to talk about changes to AI. At the news conference, he was asked if he wanted to talk about the plane crash, had anything to say. He said he didn't want to get into speculation, actually walked away from the microphone at that point, ending the news conference. And the Quebec Provincial Police, when I spoke with them last hour, about 15 minutes ago now, said that they may be able to tell us in a few minutes' time who was on board. Obviously, we're looking for that information. We'll get it to you as soon as we can. The weather alone speaks volumes about what was taking place there. And as you said, Air Canada and others had canceled flights in that region today because of the weather. Speculation only at this point that that was the contributing factor, but easy to believe that that might have been the problem. And
you can certainly understand where the Sûreté de Quebec is coming at this moment in time, because you and I have both been in the field, and to people at home, you know, when you're in a 24-hour news cycle, there is always the pressure to get the information as quickly as possible. And even though there might be speculation out there, one, you don't want to be wrong about any name when you're talking about people who have died. And two, if other family members have not been informed by officials, which is what the Sûreté de Quebec is here doing, not only are they trying to confirm inform the manifest. They're also trying to inform next of kin. You also don't want to be the source of such tragic news for a family, to hear it from someone like me or Diana before you actually hear it from officials and talk you through what has happened. So you understand the pressure that they're under and the sensitivity that they're dealing with this issue. But obviously a horrible tragedy, and for whatever families are affected by this tragedy, it will be horrible news for them as well.
Well, we are standing by to hear from Transport Canada sometime within the next hour. We'll obviously bring that to you, but we can both say from experience that 7 people dead in one plane crash is significant by any measure in this country, at a smaller airport or the largest.
And for a small community as well, because presumably there was a reason why they're going to go to that island. So it is not only the people affected in the province of Quebec proper, the mainland, but also on the small island there will be families who are affected by what we are witnessing right now.
And nothing prepares you, no matter what you do for a living, for arriving at a scene like that. And certainly no one there would have expected their day was going to turn out that way.
No, not at all.
Thank you, Michael. And Michael Sarapia will be following this breaking news and join us once again when we have more information.